Luka Doncic is going to be on Hot Ones. That was the big reveal that I got from reading Dan Wojcicki over at the Athletic. Luka Doncic is, doing this whole national tour with Jordan Brand, stopped in New York, and actually taped with Sean Evans, the Hot Ones, the interview show on YouTube, which I'm obsessed with. The list of guys who have been on this show from the NBA, it's like Embiid, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin. LeBron has not been on it. LeBron also wasn't at Luka's press conference. That's neither here nor there. But I kind of feel like Luka Doncic eating hot wings and answering questions about his life and his career. I'm all in. I think the number one pick that I would have, Dan, is Anthony Edwards. I would love to see Anthony Edwards on an interview show where he's eating increasingly hot wings. He's from the A, so I kind of feel like he's already had some hot wings before. That's just me talking. I don't know if there's any. Maybe George Niang would be good on that show. But I do think that Luka Doncic on Hot Ones is the big reveal from Dan Wojcicki's TikTok, his little his story of the lead up to Luka Doncic signing the extension. 3 years, a lot of money for Luka Doncic, but really it's all about the 10-year service maximum extension that he's going to line himself up with. He's skinny Luka. I'm excited about Hot Ones. I'm excited to see what skinny Luka does. And I'm just wondering, are you cool with the FaceTime from LeBron James? This is what people need to know. Dan, are you satisfied by LeBron James not showing up to the press conference, playing golf instead, and actually just going with a FaceTime? Are you cool with that?
I mean, yeah, I'm personally fine with it. I don't feel insulted by it. If I re-up,
put it on
Yahoo,
a headline, not insulted by LeBron's decision to not be at the press conference.
Sources, divine okay. Which honestly, there's been many times in my life that headline would not have been reasonable. But I think the only way to find out, Tom, is when I re-up with Yahoo on a 3-year, $165 million contract. What will you do? If you FaceTime me, will I feel some type of way? Will you make a point of coming here to Brooklyn for me to see me sign it? I guess we'll have to find out. But the important part is, Yahoo, I'm going to need that 3-year, $165 million extension. That's really what this comes down to.
Yeah, that's really what the segment
wings. And the hot wings.
And also maybe In Sync at the Sphere. What do you want to do? What 90s band would I take you to? Because that's part of the story too, is that Jeannie Buss and the Lakers got Luka Doncic kind of a suite over at the Backstreet Boys performance at the Sphere. So what is it, Dan Devine? Not just the contract, but what would you like me and Yahoo to get you tickets for at the Sphere?
I mean,
to satiate your 90s nostalgia.
My 90s nostalgia. I don't know. If Everclear only plays one record, maybe them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm like who would be a lot of my heroes from that time period are no longer around or are really sad and would be really tough to play in the Sphere. So I don't know. Yeah, honestly, set me up to one of the boy band groups and I'll wear all white. We'll keep the wings away from it so I don't get any sauce stains on the all white garments. It'll be like a Michael Rubin party out in the desert for us to celebrate. So, but Luka's one celebration. Anybody else from any other big market sign any extensions this week, Tom?
Yes, one that is rumored with the LeBron James next tour. The New York Knicks, Mikal Bridges signed a four. We got to just keep, we didn't say enough about LeBron in the first couple segments of the show, so we gotta keep that name.
You can see people's eyes going, wait a second.
LeBron, what? The Knicks signed Mikal Bridges to a 4-year, $150 million extension, which works out to about $38 million a year in average salary. It's a big deal. It's one that was kind of expected. If Jalen Brunson was going to take a pay cut, someone's going to get that money or benefit from getting that money, and it's his Villanova buddy, Mikal Bridges. Same thing with De'Aaron Fox. I think an underwhelming season last year, but does kind of keep some stability with the New York Knicks, and with all of the stars in at the top of the East either hurt or the teams are being decimated a little bit in the East. The Knicks have a lot of stability there with this deal.
Yeah, I mean it essentially locks in that top 6: Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Bridges, Josh Hart, and Deuce McBride for the next 2 seasons. Those guys are all going to be fully guaranteed for the next 2 seasons. Cat also extension eligible, can go the year after that. He's got a player option, I believe, for the third season there. Remains to be seen. Like, oh, there's some other business that the Knicks can do. Deuce McBride extension eligible. Mitchell Robinson, that'll be interesting because we saw the level of impact he made during the postseason, but also he's missed so much time with injuries. So, like, is there a sweet spot they can get to that pays him for that impact, but also covers the Knicks in terms of his availability? You know, that'll be interesting to see what the negotiations look like for that. But they've, you know, in addition to the depth moves they've made in the offseason, adding Jordan Clarkson, adding Gershon Yabusele, like, they've got that top of the roster secured for the next couple of years. And the optionality that they retain with it, the idea, like, there's still some flexibility. Obviously, all this comes as like the fruit of Jalen Brunson signing the extension last summer, right? Agreeing to take the maximum he could have made last offseason rather than waiting to get like a proper max this coming off of this offseason. And because Brunson's on essentially like a similar kind of, 4-year 156, like a similar kind of deal, it allows him and Bridges to combine to take up, 43% of the salary cap for the next couple of years. And that creates the opportunities for everything else, the OG deal, the Towns trade, all that kind of stuff. So Bridges didn't take the maximum he could have made was 156 million. 150 million is like a slight haircut on that, but that still like offers some flexibility below the second apron. And is there more that Leon Rose can do? And I think the thing that'll be worth watching, or at least it'll be talked about and brought up. Remember last offseason when Lauri Markkanen waited to sign his extension until it was like after the 6-month period before the trade deadline? Like, one day after I would be eligible to be traded, I sign it. So now you can't trade me this season. Mikal Bridges signed his before that deadline. So he will be eligible to be rerouted before February 6th if need be. Yeah, now why would they do that? Right, I see your windy fingers over there. Everyone's going to keep their eyes on Milwaukee. Everybody's going to keep their eyes on, who the next star is. It's monitoring closely season. We're all monitoring closely what's coming down the pike next. The Knicks, this way, they lock in their core and they also give themselves an opportunity for one more big swing if one's available. But a lot of it is going to ride on, can Mikal Bridges improve on last season? Can Mike Brown get him more comfortable, find more ways to maximize him on offense? Maybe move him off the point of attack a little bit more to make him more of a steals and deflections kind of threat. But yeah, like, similar. I love that you connected it to the Fox deal. Like, a lot of this is, where's your valuation on the player? If you think he's a top 80 player, then that's a lot of money. If you think he's closer to a top 50 player, you can make your peace with it and then see where you are moving forward. The Knicks clearly are on the higher end of that, and so they get the deal done.
A team that said peace to a homegrown or a potential homecoming, George Niang, New Englander, coming home to Boston, shipping up to Boston already in a trade this summer. And the minivan was going to park his car in Habayad. Not happening. I feel bad for George Niang. Like, he was going to come home to Boston, and then he just got shipped out to Utah in a deal for 2 second-round picks, essentially a salary dump. And then the Boston Celtics brought in Chris Boucher, the former Toronto Raptor NBA champion Chris Boucher, to basically be their starting power forward / center. Like, I don't know what is on the Celtics roster that he's going to be competing with. Xavier Tillman, maybe, starting center for the Boston Celtics next year, now that Luke Cornett and it seems Al Horford go into the Golden State Warriors. This trade, I just wanted to say, we're not going to be doing this thing where we're like cheering for billionaires to save money.
Agreed.
But this deal, like, hey, this is a great deal for the Celtics because it shaved $34 million or about $35 million in tax penalties. Like, fans shouldn't care about this. I don't think it's worth spending more time on the whole like tax savings aspect of it. Just want to put this note in there. The Celtics, according to Bobby Marks, have cut their total payroll, from $540 million this offseason to $239 million. So that is $300 million that the billionaires over in Boston do not have to pay. But at the same time, that's not going to be fun for the fans to watch. Is a team that is going to be gutted to the point where we're going to like do like laps of the victory laps on how much money they saved. And I don't know what's going to happen with Anthony Simons. I don't know what their starting five looks like, but damn, we are not going to get the minivan in Boston coming home this summer, traded again, but this time going back home to Utah, where he spent a bunch of years of his career.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a different sort of homecoming. He goes back to Utah, where George kind of broke into the national consciousness a little bit before taking the circuitous route around the NBA, as a lot of veterans of a certain tier do. You end up with more, as many years teams played for as years in the league, almost or close to it, and he's approaching
the Ish Smith Award. Yep.
Yes, the god Ish Smith. He's approaching that kind of Ish Smith line, but yeah, I mean. This is, if you're going to do this, if you're going to have to, whether it's have to because of the injuries, injury to Jason Tatum just blows up your contending window, or because management's saying or ownership is saying we got to reduce salary, or both. If you're going to do it as quickly as possible and put yourself in position to, when you do have that number one star back, maybe you're out. You've reduced some of the limitations that in terms of roster management that being in the apron can impose on you. So you put yourself in position to maybe reload quickly. The Celtics are now in a spot where the only real serious money that they'll have after this season on the books is for Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. That puts them in position to maybe be able to pivot quickly there. And then I think whatever you would, the next line to look at is like the Celtics getting all the way out of the tax so that they can actually get luxury tax money in. So maybe keep your eyes on your phone, Anthony Simons and Sam Hauser. We'll have to see where that looks from there. But Chris Boucher is a fun dude who wound up going from the absolute fringes of the NBA to an NBA champion and a sixth man of the year contender, one of the more unlikely success stories in NBA history. Now he goes and gets a chance to maybe earn one more big, reasonably sized deal if he has a big year in Boston. Opportunities abound. When things go badly for a team, it opens up some doors for other people. So maybe he gets the chance to be get back to that stretch floor spacing, shot blocking, put up some numbers, get one more big deal out of it, and everybody's happy.
Do you think that, speaking of happy, do you think that George Niang would be happy if the Celtics are like, all right, we can't bring you back home to Boston, but we will, off the books, take you to a New Kids on the Block at the Sphere when they go?
Speaking of Boston faithful, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Mark and the Funky Bunch, maybe he can go backstage with Mark Wahlberg. Who knows? The potential is there that they can satiate or soothe the wounds, the deep emotional wounds that he's not going to be able to come home to Boston. Maybe they just take him to the New Kids on the Block at the Sphere.
I mean, there's worse, sort of door prizes to get. But yeah, I guess the main thing is just keep that off the books and keep it quiet. You don't want to run afoul of the league for cap circumvention based on, related to Wahlbergs. You don't want
forget this segment ever happened.
Exactly. Let's delete it all from memory.
Let's delete it all. So you didn't hear it here first. When you see in 5 years George Niang in the Celtics booth at the New Kids on the Block, keep your third eye open on that.